Hi, this is Jon Knight from New Kids on the Block. Have you heard the news? There's good rockin' tonight.
Throughout GRT's 7 years, we've encountered more than one teen heartthrob, from Duran to Debbie Gibson, Tiffany to the New Kids. And although we've never had the chance to talk to the likes of George Michael and Michael Jackson, the ones we did speak with had some interesting things to say about the responsibilities of being a role model.
Position of great responsibility that we're in. And, you know, it's all right for rock stars to be irresponsible, but there are certain things that you just, well, for instance, you can't do. I mean, like if I stood up on stage and said, right, go and smash all the windows in the shop across the road, they'd get out and do it. You know, I mean, it's happened in England. Bands have actually incited riots and things like that. And you have to be careful what you do, and you have to be honest with them as well. You know, you can't lead them sort of up some fairyland, cuckoo land, garden path. You've got to be honest with them, and we make a very conscious effort sort of to do things which we believe in, and to communicate them with them as individuals, rather than as with ourselves being individuals, rather than as a part of a cult or a movement or even a political idea. I mean, that's one thing we stay very, very well away from, because you know, rock bands and politics to me just don't mix. I think it's very dangerous.
Well, my music and my conscience is only a very, very small part of changing people and things like that. My music is basically, to a certain extent, to entertain. Then there's another aspect to encourage people to let them know that there's hope. But the bottom line of a person being changed and led in the right direction starts at home, you know, and then you have a whole other aspect of community, and then church and things like that. These are the character builders of a person, and music is just a very small part. But I, for the most part, try to keep my music very encouraging, enlightening, and try to say something positive in my music.
You're socially conscious artists like you too, Tracy Chapman. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the music, but their audience, they're already socially conscious, so that was difficult for me to say, okay, how am I going to do this in such a way as to where I won't turn my audience off by this? Because the kids that I reach, I feel they just want to jump from party to party and have fun, and they don't really want to, you know, listen to what else is going on or any problems. So I said, okay, I'll just go ahead and do the music that I do, and just with the lyrics, that's the way to reach them. And at the same time, because no one wants to be preached to, you know, kids, they don't want that, and I don't want to sound like a preacher, you know. I'm just doing what I do best and trying to get across to them. A lot of parents have told me you're a role model, so I wanted to take that and turn it into something positive.
If there's one thing you can count on in rock and roll, it's that only the strong survive. The average life of a group is less than 5 years, and it's a miracle if you can last 20. The many veteran artists who have graced this set have always had what it takes and more to survive trends and a fickle audience in a very cutthroat business. There are just a few of those living legends.
The legend handle, though, Robert, how do you handle that? I mean,
I sleep with it every night.
All right.
It's easy. There is no legend. There's only reality, and reality is what you do today and tomorrow. You know, it's very, very nice to have written so many great songs with such a talented bunch of guys. You know, I mean, and there are, if you want kudos, you can do the Pink Floyd and just keep going round and round doing that. New songs. Yeah, it's time. It's a new song. That's what it's all about, really. Otherwise, you can't really live with yourself. What the hell are you going to do? You know?
And she's buying a stairway to heaven.
The ultimate concert I ever saw was Led Zeppelin, and I saw them between their first and second album, and that absolutely said to me, this is the pinnacle of what rock and roll and heavy metal is supposed to be, and that really basically summed it all up for me. I mean, that was like a religious experience to me. You know, I mean, I walked out of this concert and said, look, I don't even want to talk about it. It was so special. So that was really a turning point for me, because that pretty much showed me what I wanted to do. Whether or not I would ever be that good or that successful really wasn't important. It was that I had seen something that was that special.
These eyes cry every night for you.
It would be the Seattle Pop Festival in May of 1969. We were running around on the strength of These Eyes, and that was really our only hit in the States so far. But somehow, our manager managed to weasel us onto this big festival. 1969 in May, it was a 3-day pop festival. Most acts only played 1 day out of the 3, or maybe 2 out of the 3. The Guess Who was booked for 3 whole days. I mean, 1 performance per day. 3 days. During that 3 days, we saw Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Chuck Berry, Ike and Tina Turner, Bo Diddley, Vanilla Fudge, The Youngbloods, Chicago, The Byrds, The Burrito Brothers, The Jefferson Airplane, to name but a few.
Oh, man.
Charles Lloyd, Alice Cooper, The Mothers of Invention. I mean, it went on and on. It was an astonishing lineup. When I tell people now about this festival, they don't believe me. I have that poster in my house as well. Well, I will never forget it. There were 200,000 people there. You couldn't see the end of the crowd because the human eye couldn't perceive that far. To me, for my money, it was twice the show we got from Woodstock, except nobody was there to roll the cameras.
We made a decision right before we recorded Days of Future Past that we wouldn't follow any particular trend or any kind of fashion. We'd just trust our own judgment and do what we wanted to do, you know. Because of that, we saw so many other things come and go. And every time there's a new sort of fashion or trend in music, people say, "Oh, you guys must be worried, you know, look out, you know."
Yeah.
But we just seem to be able to steam straight through the middle of it.
I think we started with Flower Power or psychedelic, or in England it was called underground.
Yes.
And you progress through to art rock and whatever it was called, you know. And but we've never ever put a tag on our own music. And I think a lot of people have tried to tag us.
Oh, sure.
I've never been able to, because we've always sort of escaped away from any labels. And this is why, you know, it's Moody Blues music.
With all the success that Genesis' frontman experienced, was Mike Rutherford worried about the group becoming Phil Collins and Genesis?
There's always that happens with a singer. Before Phil Collins was the singer, when Philly's with the drummer, Peter Gabriel was the singer. And you have that a little bit. I think the singer is always the frontman. I think he has to be. And it's a fairly natural thing. And at one point, people said that sort of thing about Peter. And then he left. No, that's not why he left. But it's the singer is always a bit the front man, and Phil's very successful on his own right. But it doesn't really change Genesis. We're really just what we are when we get together, which is the 3 individuals combining to make a certain sort of music that none of the individuals could actually make on their own. That's really why Genesis is in existence, I think, for all 3 of us.
The Phil Collins that we're getting right now, also the Phil Collins that goes home and kicks his feet up and relaxes. I mean, when are you really yourself?
Well, this is probably this is it, I'm afraid. This is all you get. This is unfortunate, I think, in that, and what is, I mean, the film, for instance, a lot of rock people get involved in film, and I think if they have, I have trouble forgetting that they are who they are when I see them on screen. So if you see a Bowie, you think, that's David Bowie, and he's acting. Now, because he has such a strong charisma and personality and aura, and he's the traditional good-looking rock star, I don't have any of that, so consequently it's easier for people to think, to forget rather, who I am when I'm acting. Now that covers forward. I don't really have an image in sort of real life, you know. I mean, in sort of in my music life, if you want. It's something I haven't got. Something that's, you know, I'm nobody other than what I am now. So I suppose this is it.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around.
Hi, I'm Mike.
I'm Al.
I'm Bruce. We're the Beach Boys.
Have you heard the news?
There's good rockin' tonight.
And those guys have been around since 1962. When GRT's 400th returns, it'll be with those who churn out hit after hit, year after year, like the Doobies, Chicago, Tina, Alice. Stick with us.
You know, I think every generation has its people who symbolize something, and every country does. And because we lasted so long, I think we just become one of America's musical institutions.